Hi everybody, my name is Amelia. I'm with the Ellenville Public Library and Museum. Welcome to today's program. This is part one of a two-part program. This is Becoming a Happier, Healthier You, part one. If you would like to watch part two, if you like what you see here today, please sign up. You can use the information in the description below to sign up for our October 13th, 1 o'clock p.m. part two, and that will also be recorded and sent out. So if you like this today, sign up. And even if you can't make it live, you can see the recording, which is really cool. All right, without further ado, take it away, Dr. Thraven.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you've joined us today. This is a very exciting program because of the relevance of what's going on in our lives in the last really pretty much 2 years. I wrote this program a couple of years ago, but I've tweaked it to be appropriate for this current time frame. So I'm going to show you some beautiful slideshow that I created, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so the topic is Becoming a Happier, Healthier You, two-part workshop. Part one today is Let Food Be Your Medicine. And it's not going to be just about food, although diet has a huge impact on your immune system. We're going to be talking about the immune system and what you can do to strengthen your immune system so you have lots of good, healthy nutrients in your body. The intention of today's workshop is to bring a new awareness about the healing power of food and herbs and drinks. And also, I'm going to add to bring a new awareness about the power that you have to control the direction of your health. The outcome is to provide you with tools to help you and your family stay healthy and well. Again, a reminder, the purpose of today's workshop and the next session is to build a strong immune system so your body is resistant to any stress or illness. Okay, so I entitled this segment called Let Food Be Your Medicine, because of the impact that food and drinks and anything that you put into your mouth has upon your entire well-being. Hippocrates, who was a very famous Greek doctor in 460 BC, believed that diet, exercise, massage, hydrotherapy, which is basically different forms of water therapy, and that could be bathtubs, showers, it could be hot springs, it could be swimming in a pool, it's any type of water. And sea bathing was his treatment. And I love that. He did not start out using drugs. It's our modern medical system that took some of the herbs and the vitamins from foods and incorporated that into drugs. Now, he believed that disease is caused by deficiencies or excess, meaning too much or too little, or too little or too much. It could be too much of a good thing. It could be not enough of a good thing. It could be a deficiency in nutrients. It could be not enough exercise. It could be too much exercise. And we know people that are exercising to the point of being addicted to it. So too much of any good thing is not healthy either. So it's really important to know that. The doctor Hippocrates said in his Hippocratic oath that all doctors still continue to honor, hopefully, is do no harm. The doctors are committed to do no harm. So hopefully modern day doctors are still honoring that oath that they took to take care of patients. Okay, so to reiterate, today's session is going to be multidimensional. So it's not about only food, drinks, herbs. It's also going to be, I'll be mentioning other factors this time and also in the second session about how we can balance the physical, spiritual, mental, emotional to get us into a healthy place. So we were going to begin, we'll start this session with a calming practices. Now, when I say meditation, people automatically think you have to sit there with your arms closed, your legs crossed on the floor, and saying Om. That's one way of doing it. Not everybody meditates that way. I don't. I happen to be a very active person, and it's really hard for me to sit still. So meditation can be walking. I know that when I'm in nature, when I'm in the woods, when I'm down by a body of water, a lake, a river, a creek, I'm meditating. I'm silent. I'm being with the present, like wherever I am and whatever I'm doing. Sometimes I sit and sometimes I stand and sometimes I walk. There is a guru, one of the yogis who supports people in doing meditation any way they want to. Some people dance. That's a form of meditation because when you're dancing, you're clearing your mind. You're clearing your mind from anything that's troubling you, anything that's making you afraid, making you anxious. So meditation is an important part of your well-being, and you could do it any way you want as long as you're quiet. You know, that's really what it's about, because I know that when I'm dancing, I'm focused on moving my body. When I teach Zumba, which I teach here at the library online, when I teach Zumba, I get into a zone, and that's really the place that we want you to be, is we want you to get into a zone where you can block everything else out. So music is a very, very supportive part of the meditation. I love music. I love the quiet. I love the sound of the babbling brooks, the water flowing. When I lived in Florida, I'd go down to the beach, so I would hear the waves coming and going. Sometimes it's the wind. Sometimes it's the rain. Sometimes I go out in the rain because it's just so beautiful and peaceful. So meditation is a big part of staying well. It's getting you back to the present moment. It's getting you grounded. And then the second part is we'll do breathing exercises. And most of us breathe automatically. We're not even thinking. And it's probably incorrect breathing. The yogis teach breathing by inhaling and pushing out your belly. And then when you exhale, you tighten your belly. So let's try it. Let's put your hands on your belly, right just above your belly button, and inhale through your nose and push out your belly and hold it for a couple of seconds. And then as you exhale, feel your belly contracting. That's really the best way to be breathing, and you're doing it consciously. You're not just automatically breathing. So that's important. So meditation of any kind, breathing exercises. I do a breathing exercise every day. So I'll show you a little bit of what it is. So not only do I breathe the way I showed you, but I also have my hands up And then I'm actually bringing my hands up, in through my nose, exhaling through my nose, and my belly is going out when I inhale and in when I exhale. And I actually learned this from Tony Robbins. I took a Tony Robbins course, and he was telling us what he does every morning before he starts his day. And this is one of the breathing exercises he does. His meditation is to think about some wonderful experiences and bring it back into your memory. And so then you can really plan, you're actually focusing and creating a positive attitude about your day. And then we have affirmations. Here are some beautiful affirmations. And there's one that I wanted to read to you. And this is so beautiful. You can write it down. And the affirmation is, I am vibrantly alive and healthy. And I got this from Unity Center in Delray Beach. It says, the well-being of our bodies may be temporarily challenged by the appearance of disease, but the body has a marvelous capacity for renewal and restoration. This is actually what Hippocrates believed. Everything in us reaches towards life. Health is our natural state. Faced with the appearance of ill health, we keep our thoughts on life and healing through prayers and affirmations of health and wholeness. The power of prayer helps those in need of healing to rise up in faith, to enter into the rejuvenating stream of life, to be renewed and restored in mind and body. Whether I am praying for my own healing or for the healing of another, I affirm life. I affirm healing. I affirm that with my higher power, all things are possible. And I saved this from May 1st, 2011, which is pretty exciting. So let's look at the next slide. Another affirmation. I am vibrantly alive and healthy. I love my body and my body loves me. Remember that when you say a statement, whether it's negative or positive, you're affirming that to be so. So if you look at yourself and say, I'm so unhealthy, I'm so sick, I'm never going to get well, stuff like that, that's a negative affirmation, and your cells are listening. Every cell in your body can hear you. So be careful what you say. Be careful that you're not negatively affirming a condition. You can always say, every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Today I'm feeling not so great, but tomorrow I'm going to be back to normal. I'm going to feel great. One of the things that I do, and I wanted to share this with you, I learned this when I was living in New Mexico. I went to a concert, and this team of troubadours were singing this wonderful song, and they say that they sing it in the shower. What a great affirmation to do when you're showering or when you're walking. I do it all the time. It's called, I feel great, I feel swell, every little cell in my body is well. I feel great, I feel swell, every little cell in my body is well. Sing along with me. I feel great, I feel swell, every little cell in my body is well. Even if it's not, sing it. If you want it to be that way, sing it. It's a great little way, fun way to affirm positive health. All right. So if you have any questions, you can go into the chat room and ask me. We'll save some time at the end to answer your questions. So let's take a look at what are our biggest health challenges. So stress, and of course we've had such a rough 2 years. Everybody is stressful. Everybody is under stress. The ones that deal with it well have an arsenal of tools to help them deal with it. That's the purpose of this class today. I want you to build your arsenal. One of the ways to build the arsenal is through food. It's about what you put into your mouth. It's about what you're drinking. It's about what you're breathing. It's about who your friends are. It's about listening to music. What kind of music? Does the music make you feel happy or sad? That's very important. We want to do things that make us feel happy, because when we're happy, we release the beautiful, happy hormones. We'll be talking about that more in the next session in October. But we also want to be aware that when your body is under stress, your body is in a state of inflammation. So pain gets worse, sugar makes it worse, caffeine makes it worse, sodium and salt, table salt makes it worse, corn syrup makes it worse, empty carbs, alcohol, lack of sleep. And I wanted to read to you 10 ways that you can reduce inflammation. If you have, get a pen, get a paper, and jot these down. I did send the library a list for you about different ways that foods can cause stress, so you'll have that in your arsenal, and how to change that. So 10 ways to reduce inflammation. Eat organic, colorful fruits and vegetables every day. Your plate should look like the colors of the rainbow that are rich in antioxidants, phytochemicals, and quercetin. Those are all natural ingredients in our fruits and vegetables. And you want it to have all different colors. So another important thing is you want to try to buy unsprayed. But most local farms don't spray, even though they're not organic. It's very expensive to have the organic signature and go through all the testing. So many of them are not organic, but they're not sprayed. So you want to make sure that you're not getting sprayed fruits and vegetables. And if you do, you make sure that you wash it, not just with water. Rinsing it doesn't take off the chemicals. I use baking soda and white vinegar, and I put a pot filled with water and those ingredients, and I soak my vegetables just for a few minutes, and then I scrub it with a brush. That's the ones that have thick skins or thicker skins. The other ones, I like grapes and tomatoes. I won't soak them or wash them until I'm ready to eat them. Berries, things like that. But I try to eat organic. You want to eat fermented foods like sauerkraut, tempeh, miso, kombucha. You want to increase your intake of omega-3 fatty acids. So that means wild salmon, wild tuna, sardines, halibut, nuts, and seeds. That will strengthen your immune system. Another way to reduce inflammation is to eat more alkaline foods that flush out toxic waste. Alkaline foods mean that they're not causing your system to be acid. Like most, let's say coffee, cola drinks, processed foods are acidic foods. Flour products, white flour, white sugar, that causes your body to be acidic. So you want to have some type of arsenal that will help you relax. Meditation, swimming, exercise, affirmations, visualizations. Music, dance, exercise, indoors or outdoors really works. And you want to make sure you're using herbs and spices every day, like chili peppers, rosemary, ginger, and organic green tea. And then you want to choose foods that are low in glycemic factor, which is the sugar content. So you don't want to eat sugar-free foods because there's usually artificial sweeteners in it. Most fruits and vegetables, beans and oats and sweet potatoes and whole grain pasta are low glycemic. 7 is clean air in and out of your home. Dust, mold, asbestos, cigarette smoke all increase inflammation. Number 8 is moderate exercise. Reduces the risk of chronic inflammation and increases your oxygen intake. You want to walk, if nothing else, you want to walk every day. If you're faced with walking stairs or elevator, take the stairs. If the weather is bad and you can't really do outdoor exercise, find something online. There's lots of exercises online. Park far away from where you're going so you could walk as much as you can. And you may want to get yourself some type of fitness app. Like I have a Fitbit. I know people have the Apple phone. There's many different ways to count your steps, count the calories that you're eating. You want to make sure, number 9, that you're getting enough sleep and rest. And number 10, again, try organic. Try to eat organic mainly. If you're going to have chicken or fish or meat, make sure it's free range, it's grass fed, and very important, very, very important. Okay. So we got through the inflammation. We see that many different things increase inflammation. If you have pain from arthritis, for example, like a chronic condition, you may want to look at an anti-inflammatory diet. There's lots of books out. You could also do research on it, and you could find that online. Lack of physical activity is a health challenge, especially if you're living in the Northeast. The weather is not so great in the winter. Don't use that as an excuse. There's lots of online programs on YouTube, on other channels. You want to make sure that you're sleeping and that you're not drinking stimulants throughout the day. If you drink coffee, then have the coffee in the morning. If you're drinking Coke or something like that that has a lot of sugar in it, I would encourage you to start weaning yourself off it. Dehydration, that's very common. We don't drink enough. Many people only drink when they're thirsty. That's a sign that you already are dehydrated. You don't want to be dehydrated since our body is made up of probably 96% of water. You don't want to get dehydrated. So you want fresh, clean water, not tap water. Check the spring water you're buying for not only chemicals, but also fluoride. I have a filter that also filters out fluoride, so I can use tap water and have it go through the filter. Obesity is another one of our health challenges, especially after the past 2 years where we've been shut in, stuck at home, and feeling all kinds of emotions. Many people are doing emotional eating. And most of the foods that we choose when we're emotionally eating are junk foods. Anything that's in a package is necessarily not the best food to eat. If you stop and think about it, the fresh fruits and vegetables that we've talked about, there's no additives, there's no preservatives, it's just fresh and real. And then we talked about the dehydration and then the toxins in our environment. Okay, let's take a look now. Let's look at the wheel of life. This is another important factor. When I said that staying well and building immune system is a multifaceted challenge. You can't just eat well and then everything else is out of balance in your life. Because I know athletes, and I'm sure you know them, perhaps you are one of them, who eat really well and who exercise to excess, and everything else is out of balance. And I also know athletes who eat a lot of junk, and they exercise and they look great, but they're not very healthy. So health and wellness is multidimensional. Look at this wheel of life. We have health and fitness is one portion of this circle. Then we have our physical environment and our possessions, like where do you live? What kind of possessions do you have? Is it important for you to have the newest, most sophisticated car? Are you paying a lot in rent or mortgage? And then we look at finances. You know, some people eat very well, live in a beautiful place, but they're in debt and they don't answer the phones because the bill collectors are after them. Or their charge accounts are excessive. So you want to look at that. So it's health and fitness is part of the wheel. Your physical environment is part of the wheel. Your finances is part of the wheel. Your career. I know people that eat well, have lots of money, but they hate their career. They hate their job and they don't want to be doing it. And that's causing stress. Every one of these areas can cause stress if it's not working. So you want to look at your career. You may need to take some classes and go back to school. You may need to make some adjustments in the hours that you work and how is your career supporting your healthy lifestyle. Then we have spiritual. And so many people are saying that our country's in trouble because people have moved away from their spiritual connection. For some, it's God, higher power, spirit, universe. It's really important to believe in a power greater than yourself because you can't do it all yourself. We can't do it all ourselves. We need to have faith. We need to have trust in something greater than ourselves. So I know a lot of people are going back to that place now because everything else is in balance, but this part is not. And then we have relationships. You know, do you have a significant other? Is it important for you? Are you having romantic relationships? Maybe you don't want it, and maybe you're in it and you don't like it. So you want to look at it all. Don't stay in a career that doesn't work for you. Don't stay at a job that's putting pressure on your finances. So look at that. Your significant other and romance. Look at family. Are there family members that you're not talking to? Maybe it's time to make peace with that. It doesn't even matter at this point if you're not talking to different people and years have passed by, probably you don't even remember what happened. It's important to make peace, forgive, because when you forgive, it's not just, you're not forgiving the other person, you're doing it for yourself. Spending a lifetime being angry and carrying grudges is very stressful and breaks down your immune system no matter how well you eat. And then look at friends and your community. Are you surrounded by the people who love you and who make you feel great and who want to be around you? And do you want to be around them? If you have people in your life that make you feel bad, you know, take a look at that. It's time for changes. This is the awakening period of 2021. People are making changes, huge changes. Then look at personal development education. You know, if you can't change any of these things, maybe it's time to take a course and find out why you're not able to do that. And then, of course, fun, recreational self-care. It's not only about being outdoors, it's about pampering yourself and giving yourself the nutrients you need, taking vacations, whether by yourself or with other people. See, this is a wheel of life. This is probably one of the most important things that you can get out of the program today, is that building a healthy immune system is a balancing act of all these areas. Okay, let's take a look now at reading nutrition labels, and that's important because I know a lot of people don't read them. If you're going to buy packaged foods, it's critical that you read the nutrition, that you know how to read the nutrition label. So it tells you right here, you know, the serving size, which here is a tablespoon. I think this is from some type of sauce, maybe a cooking sauce, or yeah, that's what I think it is. And it tells you how many calories, how much fat. And you want to try, when you're looking at your labels, you want to try to get the least amount of fat, the least amount of saturated fat, the least amount of trans fat. This is probably a barbecue sauce. The cholesterol 0, sodium is pretty low. I've seen some sauces that have 1,600 milligrams of sodium. You want to be careful. You want to keep this low. The same thing with carbs. Carbs basically are sugar. So the lower the carbs, the better. People that are on low carb diets are eating sometimes 5 grams of carbs or lower. So you want to keep the carbs low. I know that some of the drinks that I've looked at have 26 grams of carbs, which is pretty high, pretty high. You don't want to drink things like that. If you do, you dilute it. Fiber, this is 0. So fiber is an important part of your eating plan. The higher, the better. The countries where they have the least amount of obesity, the lowest amount of heart disease, the least amount of colon cancer, are the countries where they eat lots and lots and lots of fiber, like sometimes 40, 50 grams of fiber. We don't come near that. Some people think French fries is a potato that has fiber, and it doesn't. So it's important to know that. Sugar. You want to make sure that your sugars are low. This is pretty low. Remember, it's also only a tablespoon. So if you're going to have 5 or 6 tablespoons, just multiply that by 5 or 6. Again, you want to keep the sugar content low. The protein content in this is 0. If you're eating a food that's in a package, for the protein content, you want to look for a higher amount of protein. So let's take a look at the ingredients. So this is important also. This goes by the highest amount of that ingredient is usually the first ingredient on the label. The last ingredient, where it says natural flavors, is just usually very little, like a pinch. So this is primarily tomato puree, high fructose corn syrup, which is not a healthy sweetener. You want to, whoops, let's go back to that. You don't want to go into this sweetener. You want to avoid anything that's made from corn syrup. Then there's malt vinegar, distilled white vinegar, and et cetera, et cetera. Guar gum is a thickener. A lot of people are reading labels and avoiding that because it's to link to how would I say it? It's linked to inflammation. It causes inflammation. Now look at all these preservatives: potassium sorbate, sodium benzoate, and then you have caramel color, which is not necessary. So you want to eat foods that will do something healthy for your body. You don't want to eat foods that are going to detract from your health or cause any further inflammation. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, write in the chat. Also, please read your nutrition labels. Even if you're buying a food that you've always bought in the past, they change the formulation very often. So read the labels anyway. And then how do we restore balance? You want to eat herbs that reduce inflammation like cayenne, ginger, turmeric, garlic. We talked about antioxidant-rich foods, which is the colorful fruits and veggies. You want to exercise every day, at least walk up and down steps, walk outside, because that reduces your stress, because cortisol is a stress hormone. You want to make sure you're sleeping 6 to 8 hours, because it's not only rejuvenating your body, but it's also helping your brain rest. And also when you're eating foods, you want to use small plates. That's the secret. If you use a big plate and you fill it up and you empty your plate like a good little girl or a good little boy, it's not good. So if you fill up a small plate, chances are that's all you'll eat. I know that's what happens with me. So that's important. Again, we talked about the nutrition label. We talked about organic versus conventional. The organic has no pesticides. It has very little preservatives, very few preservatives. And good nutrition reduces your stress. You want to avoid foods that GMO. And you'll see some foods that are packaged will say no GMO. If it doesn't say that, generally it has GMO. Genetically modified organism means they've used chemicals and they've used pesticides to create that food. So I've stopped buying anything like corn syrup because that's definitely GMO. I only buy corn that's locally grown, where I see the corn in the fields. Calories and carbs do count. It's all on the nutrition label. If you want to know what the carbs and the calories are, get an app like I'm trying to think of the name of that. My Fitness Pal will break down for you what the carbs and calories are. You want to cut back on sugar, and it's not just white sugar, it's white flour as well. Everything high carbs turn to sugar. That's why people are on keto diets. That's why they're on all different diets that are high protein, low carbs. Alcohol, cut back on alcohol if you're drinking every day. If you're drinking caffeine throughout the day and you can't sleep at night, try cutting back on the caffeine. Very cool. Okay. And then you want to, make sure that you're drinking good water. That's either reverse osmosis or you have your own filter, or you want to make sure that the filter is taking out the fluoride. The reason I say that is that fluoride is good if you know how much you're consuming. But when you're drinking water and you're using that water to make coffee or tea or boiling your vegetables, which is what I do, you don't know how much fluoride you're consuming. And too much fluoride can do a lot of damage to your body. You want to make sure that you're eating no GMO foods, pesticide-free veggies and fruits. Go local or organic and organic. Like I stopped buying eggs in the supermarket because who knows how long they've been there, where it comes from. I just buy local from the local chickens. Grass-fed beef, if you want beef, the grass-fed beef is wonderful because they're not given feed that's filled with pesticides and chemicals. I eat fish, but I only eat wild-caught fish. If I'm in a restaurant and they have, let's say, salmon on the menu, I ask to speak to the chef to see if it's wild-caught, because sometimes the waiter or waitress don't know the answer. So I only eat wild-caught fish. Honey is healthy. I buy raw honey, not the honey that's in the supermarket. I get the local raw honey. If you have allergies like I do, eating local raw honey helps with your allergies symptoms. I buy pure maple syrup, not the other brands that are basically corn syrup. I buy the ones that's pure, organic. And then, of course, my suggestion to make sure that the medicine in your kitchen does not include tons and tons of processed foods. Okay. We're doing great. So we have a few minutes left. I wanted to share with you how to eat mindfully. And most of us don't. I watch people in restaurants. I watch people in supermarkets. Most people are on automatic pilot. How often do you ask yourself, why are you eating? Most people eat because it's time to eat. Most people eat because they're with other people and they're eating. Ask yourself, why are you eating? Are you hungry? Be interesting to find out. I personally only eat if I'm hungry. Also, look at what you're about to eat. Look at it. Like, what is it? How does it look? Does it look good? Does it look appealing? Does it look ugly? And have you asked yourself, where does it come from? Like, what state, what country? I very rarely buy foods that are out of the country, that are grown out of the country, because the pesticides level in other countries are not as rigorous as ours. So I always look at the labels to see, okay, where does it come from? Is it from Mexico? Is it from India? Is it from China? So we need to look at that. How do you feel about putting this food into your body, into your mouth? Just something to think about. We don't usually do that. We usually have food in front of us and we eat it without even thinking. You want to tune into your breathing as you look at the food. Are you excited about your lasagna that you have in front of you? How's your breathing when you look at what you're going to eat? And then when you take your first mouthful, feel what the food feels like in your mouth, like a strawberry, like a blueberry, like a pineapple or cucumber. Notice any impulse you have to rush this mouthful to go on to the next. What I do, and I encourage people to do, you take a mouthful with your fork, put it in your mouth, put your fork down, and chew it. And some people only chew once or twice and they swallow. Not good. Ideally, we're supposed to be chewing 25 times before we swallow. 25 times, sometimes even more, depending on what it is, until that food becomes liquid. And then we swallow. So this is a very important, very, very important slide for you to think about and consider before you have your next food. Even if it's a snack, even if it's let's say you're driving past Dunkin' Donuts and you automatically just drive through. Like, ask yourself, why am I eating? Am I hungry? Look at what you're going to eat. What is it? Is it a donut? How does it look? You're great. Where does it come from? How is it cooked? In lots of oil. How do you feel about putting this food into your body when you're trying to work on building an immune system? Is this going to help build your immune system? Tune into your breathing as you look at that donut or the muffin. And just notice any impulse you have to rush this mouthful to go on to the next. What's so great is that you're learning how to enjoy what's in your mouth and swallow before you go to your next mouthful. For some people, it's a very different way of eating. And this is a prayer that I like to share with people, and you can make up your own, is thank you for all we have today. Thank you for the person who prepared my meal. Thank you to the farmers, the truck drivers, the supermarkets, the animals who sacrificed to give us this food. Thank you for the free will to choose healthy foods and drinks. Bless our loved ones far away who couldn't be with us today. Please send your blessings to those who are hungry and ill, and help us to live our days with thankful hearts and loving ways. You could create your own prayer, but it's really wonderful to be able to pray over your food after you've eaten it, before you've eaten it. So, we've covered a lot today. So, just to review, our workshop intention and outcome is to bring a new awareness about the healing power of foods, what you can do to help build your strong immune system, and that it's a multi-faceted approach. The outcome is to provide you with tools to help you and your family stay well. I think we accomplished that. And of course, there's a handout that you could get if you contact Amelia. It's called Becoming a Healthier, Happier You, Class 1, Let Food Be Your Medicine. And it's a list of hidden sugars, about artificial sweeteners, about healthier sweeteners, about what you can take instead of the artificial ones, unhealthy oils and fats, and you can replace them with healthier oils and fats. And then the fruits and veggies, the fish, the beef, the chicken, pork. So you have your arsenal right here to help you stay well, get well. And I look forward to next time. Yay, we're good. So we have questions. Are there any questions? I'm going to stop the share. And if there are any questions, I'm here to answer your questions. Let's see if there's any questions on the chat. Okay, are there any questions, Amelia?
One is, what can someone who is not religious do to fulfill their spiritual needs?
That's a great question, because some people equate spirituality with religion, and to me, it has nothing to do with it. Religion is one thing. Sometimes you're born that way, and sometimes people go to church or temples or mosques. But spirituality is when you go into the woods, when you go into the forest. Who created that? I didn't. I don't know who did it. When you look at the mountains, especially here in Ellenville, I look out my window and I see these gorgeous mountains. It's like, where did that come from? So to me, that's my spirituality. For some people, it could be going down to the beach and just being with the ocean. Like, that is spirituality to me. And there's something bigger than me that created all this. And that the sun rises and the sun sets. Like, who did that? Not me. So if you don't lead a spiritual life, and some people don't believe in God, that's fine. But it's important to believe in something bigger than yourself. Great question.
Okie dokie. What is the difference between a complex carbohydrate and a simple carbohydrate?
That's a great question, too. I love these questions. So, a simple carbohydrate is basically sugar, and it's absorbed into your body too quickly. And so, people have blood sugar issues when they have sugar. Let's say a donut. I would say that's a simple carbohydrate. They eat the donut, they're feeling a rush, their heart is racing. Um, it's solved a temporary problem, a craving, but it's not working through your body in a healthy way. A complex carbohydrate is basically a slower process. So people that have diabetes that's the best kind of carbohydrate for them to eat. So a slice of whole grain bread, some beans, some fruits and vegetables. Like some people can't have fruit because it's too simple for them, but they could have the vegetables, which is a complex carb. They could have grains, which takes your body a while to process and go through a simpler absorption rate, and you don't get the rush. That's the big thing. Is that sugar definitely gives people a rush, and that's usually how you can tell it's a simple carb or simple sugar. Anything else? Any other questions from anybody? People always ask me when I give these workshops, if I eat well, will that be enough to protect me from illnesses, fatigue? And I say no. That's why I showed that wheel of life. I mean, that's probably one of the most important things that we could learn about ourselves, is that it's a balancing act. And eating well is part of it. There's like 7 or 8 different spokes to that wheel. And if one of them is out of balance, the truth is, I'm looking at it right now. If any one of those areas is out of balance, then it has an impact on all the other areas. If you hate your career, you're going to eat junk food most of the times because you're so stressed. If you're having financial problems and you can't pay your bills, or you want something and you don't have the money for it, or you're going to make different choices of the foods and drinks you're going to have. Some people, become addicted to sugar and alcohol and caffeine because of some stress in this area. If you notice that in your community you're not connected with people, especially with the lockdowns that we've had, that's put so much stress on people and so much weight. So many people have gained weight because they couldn't see their friends, they couldn't see their family, or they relocated and they didn't have friends yet. And so when you're stressed out, you're going to make unhealthy choices, food choices. And then some people are frustrated because a relationship broke up. And then it throws everything else out of balance. They're not eating right, their career, everything is impacted by that one area. Your perception changes if one of those areas isn't working. You'll notice that some days you'll wake up in a bad mood and everything looks awful. Everything in your life is just a mess. And it may not be, but that's how you see it. So it's a balancing act. And it's hard work. It's not easy. It's hard work to keep us all in balance. All of us are struggling in different ways to maintain that balance.
Yay! I think that's pretty much it for today.
Great.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Once again, if you would like to see part 2 of today's presentation, please sign up, and I will put the link in the description below. So please sign up for the Wednesday, October 13th, Happier, Healthier You Part 2, which will be at 1 o'clock p.m. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great day.
Happy eating.